I'm Janes-Bartley. I'm the President, Risk Manager, and Insurance Guru here at Minnesota Insurance Group. Today I'm going to talk to you about commercial umbrella, also known as excess liability. Briefly, those terms are used interchangeably, but they are not exactly the same thing. A commercial umbrella policy tends to be more broad and might provide additional protections that were not in the policies that you bought that it goes over. Whereas an excess liability, if you think about it visually, is just the liability you purchased in exactly those same limits, just more of them. So it's preferential to get a commercial umbrella if it's available. However, excess liability is pretty standard in the market. So how everything works is you purchased, say, your commercial auto, your general liability, and your work comp. So you bought, say, for example, $500,000 for all of those. At that point, if you have a claim, say it's an auto claim, and it's the estimated damages are $800,000. You only have $500 on your auto policy. After your insurance carriers paid the $500, that difference between 5 and 8 becomes your responsibility. So it's an uninsured portion of the loss. I do hear clients say often, oh, well, if I have a claim that's bigger than what I purchased, I'll just close my doors. And I do challenge people to think really seriously about whether they can tomorrow shut the door to their business and walk away. Did you sign a lease with a personal guarantee? Do you have inventory in stock? Do you have loans for your business? Do you have customers with receivables coming? If it's how you live and how you run your life, how are you going to have an income when you close your door tomorrow? So I know it's a common thought that people would walk away from the debt, but I think it's actually very unrealistic for most people. So that's where a commercial umbrella policy can come into play. So for example, if you had that umbrella policy for $1 million, we call it a layer, that first layer, you'd have $1.5 million for total liability. So now that $800,000 auto accident would be paid for $500,000 on your underlying and then $300,000 from your umbrella. So another big reason why having a commercial umbrella policy or carrying higher limits is really important is if you purchase lower limits and your claim exceeds that, your insurance company only has an obligation to pay the damages for the limit that you purchased. So in that auto liability accident, if you have $500,000 in damages and say I'm hurt and they're estimating my damages between $400,000 and $800,000, the insurance company on the other side has to decide if they're going to pay for defense. What if they lose and they still have to pay for defense and they pay $500,000? They may just say, we're just going to pay the $500 and walk away. So that would leave you responsible for the cost of your defense and any damages above the $500,000. And that's because defense costs are either included in the limit you bought or in addition to. So on an auto policy, typically your defense costs are in addition to. So the most the insurance company would ever pay is that $500,000. But they might have to spend $300 on their defense costs fighting. But they're still always going to have to write a check up to $500,000 for that injury. When your defense costs are within the limit, for example, some general liability policies, a lot of professional liability policies are that way. If you buy a $500,000 limit, if your defense costs about $200,000, you only have $300 left to pay. So an insurance company could decide that it's just worth paying the limit and then being removed from the case and not paying the defense. So because today's society is so litigious, you can be sued for alleged claims, frivolous claims. You know, most of my clients don't do anything wrong, but they still can get sued. More often than not, when we get a claim, you know, my client's telling how they didn't do it and the other person perceived it wrong or is making things up. So you still need a defense at that point in time. So having that coverage in place is really important. Some of the courts today are awarding just record-setting judgment amounts and high court awards, and having enough coverage is really critical to that. And an umbrella policy is an affordable way, an effective way to add that $1 million limit of liability over the 3 policies or 4 or 5 that you might have. Happy to answer any questions. I'm Dawn with Minnesota Insurance Group.